Traders, the burning question this week is, what are we going to do with the US dollar? Now, technically, it's at some really great levels, and we're going to take a look at the charts later on in this vid. But ultimately, it's about the battle between these two men, Trump versus Powell. So you've got President Trump attacking Fed Chair Powell again this week, and we saw some crazy moves in the market as a result. So Trump ultimately wants to lower interest rates. Good for the economy, good for borrowing, ultimately bad for the dollar in terms of the dollar getting weaker. But Fed Chair Powell wants to keep interest rates as they are and see how the economy unfolds. So how this battle unravels is really going to have a big impact on the markets, of course, to the point where Trump said he's going to fire Fed Chair Powell this week. You can't make it up. And one of the biggest hit sectors is the housing market in the States. And this news article, guys, sums it up nicely. So we're going to take a look at this right now. Stay tuned to the end of the vid, guys, because I'm also going to show you how this impacts the US dollar. And we've actually got some US dollar trades this week. And we're also going to look at this yen weakness that continues. And we're going to look at all of my trade ideas. So stay tuned for that. But let's take a look at this article right now.
Greece President Trump is taking additional shots at Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, this time saying housing costs are his fault. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. Good to see you.
Hey.
All right, so what does this post mean? What's the housing market now? What's happening?
Yeah, so he's kind of laying the blame on all of us first-time buyers that can't find a house, that mortgage rates are too high on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Now, the connection here is that the Federal Reserve sets the benchmark interest rate. That is the short-term interest rate. The housing market deals with mortgage loans, and it's normally the 30-year fix that you're talking about if you're buying a house for the first time. That's a long-term interest rate, though. So if the Federal Reserve were to increase or lower rates, your mortgage rate is not going to increase or decrease by that exact same amount. Instead, the mortgage, the 30-year fixed, it tracks the 10-year treasury mostly, and that's more of a long-term interest rate. And that moves with where investors think interest rates are going. So the connection here is President Trump is saying, well, if we had someone that was going to be lowering interest rates and investors thought that's where interest rates are going to be going in the future, rather this wait and see approach, then you would have mortgage rates lower and more people would be able to buy a house.
Makes sense, right? So you can see how the Fed, by not lowering interest rates, is just making it harder for people to borrow money, whether it's the housing market or something else. So let's get into the charts, guys, so we can take a look at the US dollar plus all the other trade ideas I have for this week. So as always, guys, we've got loads of trade ideas for you this week. We're going to start by looking at US dollar because that's what we were literally talking about, old Powell and Trump and their battle. But we're also going to look at yen and this continued weakness with the yen. Can we still capitalize on that? We'll take a look at some ideas there. And I've also got some Canadian dollar trades that we're going to take a look at as well. So loads to get through. Let's get into it. Let's start here, Euro US dollar, and this is the weekly chart. We look at the weekly charts, guys, because these are swing trades. We could be holding these for some time. Now, if Trump gets his way and interest rates are lowered, this is ultimately bearish for the dollar, right? Whereas Fed Chair Powell, if he keeps the interest rates as they are, this will keep some strength in the dollar. All right, but that's fundamental trading. We're going to look at this from a technical standpoint. And you can see here, guys, that on the weekly chart, we are clearly in an uptrend, right? Fact. Yeah, we're getting higher lows, higher highs. We're in an uptrend, right? And we've retraced to a really interesting level. So what was once resistance, when it breaks and comes back and retests it, okay, this is a really interesting level for me. Now, at this point, we've had a doji react at this level, right? There's indecision because we have had this US dollar strength for the last week or so, but ultimately we're in this uptrend with, which means US dollar weakness. So once we get to this point, obviously there's a bit of indecision in the market with regards to, where to ultimately take the dollar. So let's drop down to the day chart. And you can see that indecision, right? So you can see this was a really nice level. Yeah, price has reacted before. It's reacting again, right? And just look at this indecision in here, guys, right? You've got sellers, buyers. Really doesn't know what to do with itself, okay? But because we're in a weekly uptrend and we're still in a daily uptrend also, if we start getting big bearish candles bounce off of this level, guys, I will be interested in buying euro US dollar back up to these highs. All right. But I need to see buyers take control of the market. And it's the same for a lot of US dollar pairs. So euro US dollar, if that happens, I will take a buy trade. It's the same with pound US dollar as well, guys, right? If we start with the weekly, a lot of US dollar majors are at very interesting levels. Pound US dollar is another one. So this is basically where we're at. So again, in a weekly uptrend, and we've retraced to a really interesting level of support and resistance, but support in this case. Now, if US dollar is going to become weak, then you would expect price to bounce off this level. All right. And this would be my target, this 1.36 thousand back up to this resistance here. But again, if we drop down to the day chart, guys, you can see price has got to this level. And it's a little bit undecided, right? But because we're in an uptrend and ultimately we are in a daily uptrend too, if we get bullish candles bounce off this level, I will be looking to buy pound US dollar. Okay, you can see a level in here. It's probably better represented on the H4. Yeah, so if we start getting a break, of this level here, right, and we start seeing a H4 structure break, right, we get this kind of action, maybe it does this, and then we get a break on the H4, this is where I'll be interested in buying it back up to here. If that doesn't materialize, no problem. I won't take the trade. I won't be interested in it because I need to see buyers start coming into this market and taking control. So pound US dollar is a trade idea, a buy trade idea as well. And the last US dollar pair, US dollar major I'm interested in is New Zealand dollar US dollar. Because you can see again on the weekly chart, we are in this uptrend stroke range, if you like, right? But ultimately we're in an uptrend. We're bouncing off, right? Look at that candle. We're bouncing off a nice support level, and we've got the moving average 20 coming round as well. Out of all the US dollar majors, this looks nice, right? Just to take it back up to these last highs here. So that's what it looks like on the weekly, looking like a buy trade. If we go down to the daily, we have the same problem, right? I need to see buyers take control because ultimately we're kind of in this downtrend, right? Lower highs, lower lows. And you can see this level through here is proving to be important. But if we get price build up and we get a break of this level, again, I'll be interested in buying New Zealand dollar, US dollar. All right, guys. So yeah, that is US dollar pairs that I'm interested in. We're now going to take a look at some yen pairs. Before I do, if I could please ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. Also, guys, please leave a comment. Yeah, if you like my trade ideas, please leave a comment. Let us know what you're looking at in the markets. Maybe you have some trades you're looking at, or you have some fundamental perspective. Please share it in the comments below right now. Also, guys, please don't forget to come join our beautiful trading community. Please come join our free Discord channel. It's free. You can talk to like-minded traders, share knowledge, ideas. So please come check it out. The links are below. Also, guys, please don't forget to check out the website if you want access to all of our premium trading education, including our Simply Forex course, including the VIP Trading Academy, and including my mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one. If you're interested in any of that, check out the links below. Right, yen pairs. Let's start with New Zealand yen because it's the closest. And if we go to the weekly chart, there's still a bit more room here, right? So on the weekly chart, we was in this downtrend, right? As you know, we was in a downtrend until these highs here got broken, right? And they literally got broken last week, right? So we had this big bullish candle a couple of weeks ago, and we still have a big bullish candle that broke and closed above the high of that candle. That's what I like to see. That is a continuation of trend. So there's not much room, right? But if we get a retrace during the week, I'm looking to take price back up to 89, if not up to 90. I'm just heading for the next psychological levels. So New Zealand yen buy trade, same as Aussie dollar yen, obviously highly correlated, and a very similar looking trade. But Aussie dollar yen looks like it has more room to move into. So again, the weekly chart, these are swing trades, right? We're in an uptrend, okay? We broke these highs, we're getting higher highs, higher lows. Again, nice bullish candle. This week's candle, not super bullish, but still firmly in an uptrend. Buyers are still in control, and we've got all this room to take it back up to 98.50. All right, and more of this yen weakness we can see in Canadian dollar yen as well. So again, if we just track structure so that we understand trend, and this is where we're at, right? Clearly in an uptrend, higher lows, higher highs, right? And we're getting nice bullish candles. And again, I'm just looking to take it to the next psychological level, so this 109, but potentially, you know, up to this 110 and these highs in here, right? So yeah, still seeing that yen weakness, guys. And that yen weakness isn't going to change if the indices keep flying, right? So where are we? If you look at the NASDAQ, just look at the weekly chart, right? It's broken these all-time highs, and it still just keeps pushing up. And this is the real catalyst for all that yen weakness. So if the indices keep flying up, that yen weakness will continue, as we've seen over the last few weeks. So yeah, yen pairs, guys. What else did I want to show you? Stay tuned, guys, because I've still got a load more trade ideas, starting with Euro Aussie dollar. Let's take a look at that right now. Where are ye? There you are. Now, on the weekly chart, guys, we are still in an uptrend. Okay, right? Now, bear with me because I'm looking to sell Euro Aussie dollar. Now, we are in an uptrend, right? We're getting higher lows, higher highs. But look at this selection of candles, right? Let me zoom in fact, right? Didn't really zoom in that far. But super bearish, and look at the top wick. That's suggesting bearish, right? So, you know, the candles are telling us it still has some room to the downside. And I'm looking at this 1.77 thousand psychological level. Because we are in a weekly uptrend, I haven't gone crazy with my target. My target's not down here because we are still ultimately in an uptrend, and we've got this moving average 20 catching up as well. But to confirm the reason I like this is the day chart, because we have had a structure break, right? We was in this uptrend, and then bang, we've broken down. We've broken all of these lows in here. We're getting lower lows and potentially lower highs now as well. And you can just see how these candles, look at these top wicks. They've held on to the moving average 20 and this grey horizontal support and resistance level. You know, I really like sell trades back down to these lows. So Euro Aussie dollar sells. There's more. What else we're looking at? Yeah, now we're going to look at a couple of Canadian dollar pairs. We're starting with New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. Now, obviously, guys, we need to keep an eye on oil when we trade Canadian dollar. So let's have a quick look at oil while we're here. And it's a bit I mean, if you look at the day chart, it's just scruffy. No one's really committing with oil. No one's really selling it. No one's really buying it at the moment. It's just sort of scruffy price action between here and here. Yeah, because there's just so much geopolitically going on with oil, right? So it's difficult to get a reading on oil. But if we start getting breaks out of here, that's bullish oil. If we start getting breaks down here, very much bearish, all right? But at the moment, lots of consolidation. Now, if we go back to the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar trade that I was looking at, it's basically a ranging market, right? So you can see weekly chart, we're ranging from here to here, all right? And at the bottom of the range, we've got this nice bullish wick. So that's telling us we can potentially take price back up to the top of the range in this 0.8300 level. All right, so New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar buys. And obviously, guys, I'm giving you my trade ideas and the direction. You know, as the week unravels, you know, I will find trades within New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. It may take a few days to materialize. And if I do, guys, I'll put it in the VIP Discord. Okay, so yeah, New Zealand Canadian dollar buys, and I also like pound Canadian dollar buys. So a bit of Canadian dollar weakness. So if we look at the weekly chart here, you can see with pound Canadian dollar, we are still in an uptrend, right? Higher lows, higher highs, we're in an uptrend. And we've come back to this really nice support level, right? There's one support here, we're getting another bounce off here as well. If we drop down to the day chart, just so you can see that big bounce here, but again, guys, right, we're firmly in a downtrend. So what I would need to see is something like this, right? And then we get a break of structure and we can start buying. Now, again, I know, guys, this could take days, right? So be it. Welcome to trading, right? Sit on your hands, wait for the setup, and away you go, right? But pound Canadian dollar buys as well. What else am I looking at? So yeah, those are all my trade ideas, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and smash the like button. Help support the channel. Please go check out our free Discord, our trading community, and check out our website for all the premium trading education. Have a great trading week, and I'll see you for the live streams during the week. Adios, amigos.